Okay, hopefully this will video the horse because I have the GoPro on. Okay, so this is a horse that's a little trippy. I don't have his boots on today as a test. I'm gonna lunge him here and then go out in the field just so I can see. But what I want you to see is also, this is the horse that paces when he's loose, but I've been putting him over the poles and then he's been trotting, but I haven't loaded that video up yet, so you haven't seen it. Anyhow, what I want you to do right now is watch this horse's legs, okay? This is a Tennessee walking horse. So as he walks, his hind foot steps over his front hoof print about a foot, okay? So this horse has what you call a big overstride or big overreach, okay? Okay, and they're bred with this, but some have it and some don't. So with these horses, when they overreach that much, this is why when you ride them, you have to engage them. Their gait are just like this walk, but faster, but it's still 4 beats, okay? So what that means is his feet are hitting the ground 4 times. So if I was going to count it, this is what it's like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he's just doing his regular trail walk. There he just stumbled, but that was because it lifted up a little bit and he stepped on a little bit of a rock. And so again, that's a soreness issue. That's why those boots help. But what you'll see is as he's walking, his head is pretty low, isn't it, right? It's getting down to his knees. You'll see with a lot of the walking horses, they're pretty heavy up in the front end and their neck and their shoulders. They have a lot of muscle and a lot of strength. And so they're what I call top heavy. So just like people that have big bellies or big breasts, it tends to make you fall forward, okay? And those people tend to fall off easier if they haven't balanced themselves. So these horses with those big heavy front ends, if you let all the weight get up in their head and their head goes down towards their knees, then when they trip, they fall forward. And then if you fall forward, it knocks them off their feet. So some of it's the horse, how it's built. The other is how we are, how we're riding. And then the other part is our balance, okay? So I'm not real top heavy. So when they trip and I get my weight back, it's so much easier for them to catch themselves versus if somebody big and heavy was on this horse with bad balance and he tripped, they could knock him off his feet, okay? All right, so now what I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna make this horse walk faster. Now, if he's talented or he's been gaiting correctly, he should just go into a faster walk and that should be his flat walk. So this is his flat walk. Now his head came up a little bit, didn't it? And that's a pretty good headset. It doesn't need to be any higher. Now he's shortening his stride just a little bit, so I kind of backed off. His front feet are very short because they're trying to keep him from tripping. So normally, you know, like in the show ring, this horse would have a longer foot and he wouldn't have such a short step. So now he's pacing, okay? Now when he paced, he shortened his stride way up. So we don't want him to do that. He shortened his stride and then he just swings his feet and he's not using himself at all. They like to pace because they can swing their legs and it's really easy. They can do it all day long and they can do it pretty darn fast. So why use your muscles if you can just swing your feet, okay? So you have to teach these horses how to properly use themselves for them to do it correctly. So your flat walk is just this. It's just a faster walk. And this is where everybody gets confused because you've been told over the years, sorry buddy, that when they're pacing or they're doing a step pace, that is the correct gait, okay? So it's not. We're not here to fight with anybody, but just know that most of the stuff most people have told you is not correct if you're really looking to do this right and have it smooth. So that's why when you see some horses gaiting, they're not very smooth, because there he's pacing again, because they're not really doing the correct gait. Okay, so if he paces again, I'm going to let him pace a little bit. What I want you to do is watch his back. So you'll see right now his back just kind of moves towards his head and towards his tail, and that's why you get that rocking sensation in the saddle when they're doing a flat walk. And when it's a horse that has a big stride like this, you get a lot of rocking back and forth. So if you're not rocking back and forth and you're moving up and down, they are most likely pacing. Okay, so now I'm going to speed him up. So if he had a nice running walk, he should be able to hold it, but this might be his running walk for now, and now he's already out of it. Now he's pacing. So watch his leg. So watch his legs. I'm going to let him pace. See how the step, his stride, in other words, shortened way up? Shortened way up. Now you watch his flesh on his back. You'll see it's bouncing up and down a little bit. Okay. Now see his head? His head came up and there's no shaking. So that's why when they tell you this is a running walk, it's not correct. There's no head shake, there's no overstride, and it's definitely not very smooth. Okay. Now if you separate those legs just a little bit, you could get a step pace or a rack, and that's smooth, but you won't have any head shake. Okay, so what we're trying to do is get this horse to keep his nice relaxed stride. They can only do this if they're relaxed. If they're tense, they're going to pace or do something else. But if he keeps that nice relaxed stride and just walk faster, as it goes downhill, which is right here, we got to keep him a little slower. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wiggle this. So I'm slowing him down, and voila, no pace. Oops, and he stopped. Okay, now we're going to speed up because we're going uphill, and what do hills do? It makes the horse go on the trotty side. So if I speed him up the hill, there, that's better. Then he can get a running walk. But if I go too fast, he's going to get a step pace. Even though the legs are separated, they're moving a little bit closer together. So here he's good, but he's good, but there he stumbled, but there's a little rock right there, so that's a soreness thing. Okay, so we kept him at his pace. Now we're going to speed him up. There we go. So he shortened his stride a little bit, but I think with the boots on, then that'll be much better. And when you put boots on a horse, because you know you have them barefoot, if they're pacey and you put them on the front feet, well, that's going to help them. If they're trotty and you put them on the front feet, that's not going to help you. It's going to actually make your horse trottier, and so then you might not be able to gait them that well. So if you're going to put boots on and you have a trotty horse, either put boots on all the way around or put shoes on all the way around. If your horse is pacey, put boots on in the front, or just put shoes on in the front. And just that, oh, see, look, he didn't pace there. And I was talking, so not paying enough attention. So, but now I forgot what I was saying. See, got distracted. I'm just like a walking horse. But yeah, if you put shoes on for the pacey horse, just put it on the front. Just that little change in weight can help your gait. Now there he got a little faster, then he stubbed his back foot because the foot's uneven over there, but that's okay. So that's what we're aiming for. So you can gait them on the ground, it's just nobody tries or nobody feels like it, or it's too hard. But it's just like riding them. So when they get fast, I just wiggle the rope, but you got to teach them what the wiggle and the rope means first. See, now he just got pacier and pacier when he sped up. Now he's better. Okay, so that time it took a little time. So now let's practice the hoe, because this horse didn't hoe that well. I'm going to breathe. They feel everything. Whoa. Good job. Good job, buddy. Yeah, you're being a good boy. He's like, is mama watching? Okay, so let's go the other way. Nope. Now, I don't know if he knows how to lunge, so we're just winging this. Now see, he just came in my space. He's like, oh, I don't care about you, lady. So we'll fix that. Try not to do too many things to stress them out when they first arrive. Okay, so decent walk, a little short strided in the front. But again, some of that just is because he doesn't have a toe much there. And then he's a little sore. Okay, now he's pacing. See the short stride, see his bounce in his back, his flesh kind of moving up and down. Now this is better. Now see his head start to shake already. Okay, so there's a lot of things that can go on, but some barefoot horses, they're just sore, and that's the main problem. You help them with their feet. Sorry, I might be turning my body and not getting this on it. But you help them with their feet, and then they can gait much better, and they do much better. And then they're less trippy. But barefoot horses that are sore will stumble and trip. They will act ouchy, but some people don't know what that feels like because you haven't ridden a horse that wasn't ouchy. So you might want to ride one with shoes, and you're going, oh, wow, big difference. Okay, so I'd like his flat walk to be a little bit faster. See his head come up? So shorten stride and got pacey. Now we don't want his head too low. We don't want it too high. We kind of want him right about there, might not be bad. Kind of neutral, okay? But too low, they're gonna get lazy and trippy, and they're too heavy in that front end. So just like people, I tell all the people that are heavier in the top that they need to lean back more than the average person because they have to compensate for that extra weight. So just like that, these walking horses got to keep more weight on their back end so they don't get trippy. So hear the squeaking, so he got a little nervous. What happened, his head came up. Okay, so when we want to rack, we do bring their head up, but when I'm trying to work on the flat walk and the running walk, I want their head neutral. We're down if they're pacey, but not down so far that they're going to trip. So you have to kind of play around and figure out all that stuff. And it's quite difficult if you have no idea what you're doing. These videos will help, but some of it's just trial and error if you got no one to help you. And again, you can send me videos. I can evaluate them. It's not that expensive, but I got to get paid for doing something since I give all this stuff away for free. Okay? We all got to make money somehow. So I do have to charge, but it's not bad. And you'll learn a lot. Okay. So you see I keep winging this stick at him. It's just to create energy so he keeps walking. So when you're flat walking, you usually got to push with your legs unless you have a forward horse to keep it going the same speed. And you can only go as fast as the horse can go without pacing. So if he paces going slow, then I have to go really slow, or I might have to keep him over poles the entire time. Okay? So, but his flat walk, at least in here, is decent. Out there it wasn't so great. So this is pretty good for a flat walk. He's just short strided in the front, but his back end is overstriding, and he's got head shake. Okay, and then you can kind of see that back and forth motion in his back. If you can't, you just keep watching these videos over and over. One day you'll be like, oh my god, I see it. But you just got to keep watching it, even if it's the same darn video. So there he got a little slower, so if I was riding him, I would have pushed with my leg. Now he's pacey, so if I was riding him, I would have half halt. That was his stifle giving out in his back end. Now he stepped on a rock. Okay? So some of those people don't know, they're new to horses, and they're like, he's lame. No, he's just sore on the rocks. Put some shoes on or put some boots on. And again, the only reason I didn't do it today is just because we're evaluating him, so you can see the difference when he has the boots on versus when he doesn't. So for him, it makes a big difference. I'm not a big boot person. It's hard to get boots on. I don't like to lose them. I don't like them to get stuck in the mud. So if a horse needs boots, I always put shoes on. That's just my preference. You saw that. That was another sore step. So he's taken lots of sore steps today versus whenever I load that other video. You'll see. Okay, but that's why I prefer shoes. I'm lazy. Rather have the shoe or just put them on. So here he's got a decent walk, but it was a little short or strider. That's better. And his head was up more, so it wasn't as nice. Okay, so when we ride him, you can see his mouth, his head. We don't want his mouth below his chest. See his mouth? And then you'll see his head's a little bit like level, almost. It's a little bit higher than his wither. So we don't want it to go below his wither. So you need some kind of marker. So you're like, is his head too low? Oh, it's below his wither. Yeah, it's too low. So again, you might hear bring their head down when they're pacey, but if they're pacey and trippy, you got to be like, how low can I bring it without making this horse trip more? So here he's still a 4-beat stride, and then he step pace, and then he went into a pace. But remember, he's going downhill. If you watch all my other videos, I know you can't tell by looking at this round pen, but when they go downhill, they get pacier. So a pacey horse is going to pace downhill. A trotty horse might gait downhill because it's going to make it lateral or on the pacey side, and that's going to help a trotty horse's gait. Going uphill is going to help this horse. So now we're going to be going uphill. See? Now we can walk faster and better. So every time he's going downhill, we want to slow him down. And when you get to watch that other video, you'll see most of the time in the other video, that was a sore step again. He was trotting most of the time. So 2 things, he had the boots on so he didn't trip or he didn't stumble like he's stumbling today. And he trotted most of the time, which is better for him because he's pacey. So without those poles in here, he is pacing most of the time when he goes out of gait. And this horse I'd rather have trot for now because it'll help him to pick his feet up, so it'll help with the tripping and it'll help his gait. Okay, this is probably long enough. I hope you understand. If you don't, watch this video 1,000 times till it makes sense to you. And share with your friends so they start to understand too, because there's many people who think that pace or the step pace is a running walk, and it's not. I forgot one thing. So we just moved to this facility, and it's very nice that the people invited me to train here. It's not mine, I wish it was, but I can't afford anything. So anyhow, so we have no footing in this round pen right now. So footing does change how your horse moves. So a pacey horse like this, he'd do better in deep footing or deep grass, or things that would make him pick his feet up, like walking over rocks on the trail if his feet weren't sore. Okay? A trotty horse does well in here because deep footing makes them trottier, so they do much better on hard footing like this. But when this horse is out on the trail, he has lots of things going against him. There's not going to be footing, so that'll make him pacey. If he's going downhill, that's going to make him pacey too. All right, just wanted to add that in. Okay, so I decided to come out here. Hopefully the hay guys don't come, so you can see the difference in the footing. So here he's on softer footing, but there's holes, so he might trip. We'll see. But he's actually walking much better with his front end. He's not as short strided, but we'll see as he goes a little faster. That was just his stifle giving out. There's a pace. That's kind of a step pace. Mommy said you can do a running walk, so his head's up, so he's inverting his back and he's just going to a pace. Now it's different when you're on them because you can do things with their head to help them. So right now I don't have him in a surcingle or anything, so I'm not helping him much. I'm just trying to slow him down and then ask him to walk faster. Good job, buddy. Good boy. So immediately as he gets faster, start step pacing or pacing. And if we want to get a rack, it's best to get the slower gaits first. These horses are bred to do the flat walk and the running walk. Whoa, whoa. Hey, see how he doesn't stop out here? You gotta be tough. Where are you going? He's like, I'm running home. That's where I'm going, lady. Okay, pacing. So these horses should have them in it, just like the Rockies are bred to do a rack. So even though the Rockies can foxtrot and some can do running walks, they're bred to do the rack if they're bred well, so you should be able to get it. Okay, so I'm yanking on him because I want him to stop pacing. Hey. Now, if you watch the video I wrote him, when he went to the right, he's stiff and he doesn't listen as well and he didn't bend as well. So guess what I'm doing? I'm going to the right, and what's he doing? He's not listening. So it's all panning out and everybody thinks, oh, groundwork has nothing to do with the riding. Really? So get the groundwork good, it'll help you with the riding. Okay, so here's his flat walk. It could be a little faster in time, but it's good. Now he just started step pacing. So it wasn't a true hard pace, but that was a step pace. So I'm not seeing any running walk in this horse. Doesn't mean he doesn't do it, I'm just not seeing it on the ground. So he could use more work on it. That's a little bit better. That's closer to a running walk. And you're like, what? They're not going very fast. The running walk actually is not super fast. Everybody thinks it is. All horses are different, but most of them is not really fast. Okay, a trotting horse goes about 8-9 miles per hour. Okay, so your running walk is usually slower than most horses trot, just a little bit slower. So it's not going to be very fast. Your flat walk, don't eat, is about 3 to 5 miles per hour. A lot of horses can walk 3 to 5 miles per hour. It doesn't even have to be gaited. It just has to do an extended walk. And that's really what a flat walk is. It's just walking fast. So a lot of horses can do that, just usually not the quarter horses because they're too short strided. So he's just been pacing as I've been talking to you. Okay, there we go. So it's the same thing when you're riding them. Somehow you got to be like, hey, I don't like you pacing. That's why I stop and back up. So when I'm on the ground, I just keep whacking him in the head with that hardware that's under his chin. If you don't have that hardware, then when you yank on the rope, it's not going to have the same effect. The hardware makes a huge difference because it's more annoying. So with him, my plan, if it's on the ground, would be flat walking him a lot. And then when I want to go faster, putting him over poles so he doesn't start to pace. Because we're trying to build his muscles up to do the correct thing. And right now his muscles say pace, pace, pace. And we don't want him to pace. Okay? But every time he speeds up a little bit, his head comes up, he shortens his stride, he goes towards either a pace or a step pace. And the step pace is smooth, but if you want to go faster and you want to get it really smooth, you got to start from the basics. In the walking horses, you got to get the flat walk, you got to get the running walk before you try to rack them. Because you'll have much more speeds to play around with when you ride with other people. The horse will be more balanced, and the horse will have more muscles as well, and you won't have to do anything crazy to get it into gait, which a lot of times you see people doing. They're yanking, pulling, kicking, hitting. We just want the horses to go faster, 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 and be smoother, smoother, smoother. Okay, so he didn't trip a whole bunch out here on this footing, even though it's up and down. So that tells me this cushioning is helping him, and it's telling me when I get him on that hard stuff, here he goes pacing, that's where he's stumbling actually. So it's more a soreness with him, which, you know, people wouldn't realize, but when I get to test him and I get to do all these things because I have the knowledge, I can tell a lot better. So that's a much better flat walk, right? He's much more engaging, and see, his head's not going down below his chest, he's moving out. And so this is something, whoa, I'm gonna stop him. Good boy, now he's back up. So I'm being a little mean because he's a little tough to stop. Good job. He's like, holy crap, you're being gay. Good boy. So I'm able to make these differences because I can tell the footing. I've seen horses with shoes. Without shoes, I've ridden them. So for me, at least now, as I'm evaluating him, which, you know, a lot of vets don't know all this different stuff about the gaited horses, but he's sore on the hard stuff. He's sore when he goes over rocks. That's where he's stumbling. So when you're telling your vet or you're evaluating your horse for stumbling, you really need to keep a diary. Where is he stumbling? When is it in the ride? Is it the beginning, the middle, the end? How are you riding the horse? Is he on a loose rein or short rein when he's stumbling? Is he stumbling when he's gaiting, or is he stumbling when he's walking? Is he barefoot Are his feet long? Are his feet too long? Because if they have long toes, these horses tend to drag their feet more. They'll catch them on more things. You might want to try a different shoer. And again, you can do different things. You'll see his feet are short. They're pretty short. But you can do more things with shoes than you can with boots. There's no boots that, you know, with a square toe or anything like that, because your horse's foot wouldn't fit in the boot. So if it's really bad tripper, you really usually need shoes to help the foot fall, the break over, get their toe out of the way, more than you can do with boots. You can keep them barefoot, and you know, they might get better because their feet are sore, but they're still going to stumble, but they might not have the big trips as much because it's going to hurt more. Last thing, some of these walk-in horses, their pain tolerance is very high, and vets have a problem evaluating them for lameness sometimes because they're so tough. But because of that, they can also trip, and I'm going to put you back in here. They can also be sore and you don't know it, and they can trip. And because they're tough and it doesn't hurt them as much, they don't care, and they keep, sorry that this is pointed towards the ground or whatever, they keep tripping because they're like, well, that didn't hurt me that much. I don't care. I'll just trip. I'm lazy. So all those things come into evaluation when you're trying to figure out why your horse is tripping. Okay.